guys, Power Rob here. So, I'm sorry about not being around the past week or so. Megatronics had some shows up in Philly and Brooklyn, and the weather was not necessarily very kind to singing, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job, so I kind of stayed off my voice whenever I could. But I intend to be back now. We're kind of taking a break on shows for the moment. Same with my other projects, Throw Color, and the other stuff I'm doing. Mainly it's just going to be a recording creation period right now. Just a lot of building tunes and all that. So I have a lot more time to use my voice to talk and to stream and all that. So I'll be back on. Anyways, I want to use this to quickly talk about a fun quest I've been on lately. This has been definitely different for me. So I started becoming a fan of colognes about a year or two ago. My dad would always get me colognes for presents, and when I was growing up, I really didn't care. Like I was like, whatever, it's just cologne. And so, just out of curiosity, about a year or two ago, I started figuring out, well, maybe let's find one that I like. Let's see what I like. And so, I tried all the typical ones: Sauvage, Acqua di Gio, all those guys. And I eventually stumbled on something I got my dad. I became a big fan of Dior thanks to Sauvage, and I eventually got him a bottle of Fahrenheit, because I thought the bottle was really cool, like this guy. And so I thought, yeah, it looks really cool. Might as well get him it, because he always gets me cologne all the time. So maybe he'll like some Dior. I heard they're a reliable brand, and again, I like Sauvage. So I got him the bottle, and about a year or so ago, and then I tried it. Like, I just wanted to smell what it was like, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I never smelled anything like it before. It was a very vintage smell, like almost like slightly leathery, slightly ethanol, very I guess smoldering is a good way to put it, like almost like fiery. And it was really cool. It was almost like you're crashing on a leather couch in the 1980s after speeding around with a leather biker jacket and a ninja bike. It's in front of, I don't know, like a fireplace or something. It's really hard to describe it. Like, I can describe other ones pretty well, but this one, it's got violet leaf and a couple other interesting choices in there. And I just became a big fan. Like, I just liked it a lot. So I used it relatively often here and there. Initially I used it alongside other things every once in a while. Like, one day I'd use Fahrenheit, other day I'd use Sauvage. And eventually I just kind of started wearing Fahrenheit a lot. I just liked the smell. Nothing really could capture that vibe it had. It was just so unique. So then I started running out the bottle I had, which was this guy. And I thought, okay, well, it's time to get some new Fahrenheit. Just to be safe, let's take a look online and see if, there's any reformulations, because I've heard that's a problem with cologne. So I found out that, yes, this is a gigantic problem. In fact, the vintage original batch, which was created in 1988, is apparently bird's teeth. Like, apparently it's you can smell that in the ones that are currently out. But the original just does it better. The performance is longer. You'll be wearing it for like 8 hours, maybe a little longer. It's just overall better quality. And so I started looking into prices of the 88, just out of curiosity. And I just started noticing they were astronomical, like $300 and up for maybe even like a 50 milliliter. And it just didn't seem reasonable. So I thought to myself, okay, well, what are the chances that they reformulated things? I bought this in 2018, maybe 2019. So when I got I eventually looked up the 2019 formulation, and they changed it in 2019. And I was reading that people were noticing significant changes, like the scent was different, all this other stuff. So my first reaction was, okay, well, maybe this is just a bunch of fanboys. Maybe this is just they're obsessing over it too much, and there really isn't that much of a difference. And so I went up the street and I picked up a bottle of a Fahrenheit that was on sale, the new stuff, and they're right. There is a nice mix of the scents in the 2017 one, which is a batch apparently I had. It's very robust. It's gotten a nice low ends to it. There's even a slight tint of vanilla in there, just enough, like a hint, to really make the scent very full. And all that's gone in 2019. Like, a lot of it's gone. I would find myself in 2017 just kind of like, it's boredom. Maybe at home, be like, just like the scent of it, just smell it sometimes. 2019, when I sprayed it, I got a headache. Like, it was, that slight ethanol had been just jacked up, and it just was just too much. Like, it was too much for my nose. So I thought, okay, then these guys are right. There's something different here. And so I started hunting around, looking into the different batches. I actually found a forum or a blog called Raiders of the Lost Scent, specifically dedicated to Fahrenheit. It's insane. And it's all of the different packaging over the years, all the different brands over the years, and also the different formulas, like what changed. I found out that apparently the original batch was the same batch for from 1988 to 2001. And so with enough searching around, I eventually found a vintage bottle of 2001. And I've read that it's chemically the exact same. So this just came in today. This is OG original. If you find this at a yard sale and you really want to check out Fahrenheit or anywhere that's just cheap, look for that cap. You'll see that little bend there versus the normal straight one. That's one indication it's vintage. You can also take a look on the old ones where there's a batch code, like this one. Yeah, one right there. So you can see the batch code. It's hard to see on the camera because it's actually really dull. But if you look on the side, you'll find the batch code. And there's actually a website we can look up when it was made, the month it was made, and then compare it to that form I talked about. And you can figure out when it was, like the manufacturing, the quality of it, and all that. So this is basically one of the last versions you could possibly get of the OG batch. And I got to try it today. And so I wanted to know, is it a bunch of bunk or not? And I got lucky that I got this priced for about the same amount that a 100 milliliter costs today. So that kind of justified my purchase. Like, I got a good deal. I found it. I compared the batch code. I made sure it was vintage, or the newest vintage possible. So just in case there's any degradation going on, which I read really doesn't happen. So if you get an 88, keep your hands on it. So how would I rank these? Where'd I put them? Well, when I got OG, I also was turned on to this by a new friend of mine at a fragrance store called Hitfire. Whenever someone tells me something smells like Fahrenheit, they usually show me it and it doesn't. Like it's just like whatever. It's just like a tiny bit leathery, but it smells something like Fahrenheit. This kind of does. It actually does really well. It's uncannily close. And this was $15. So I'm gonna put this in my list, even though it's not Fahrenheit. Sorry about that. Let me move in a microphone or moving my headphones around real quick. So that being said, what do I rank these guys? Number one is OG. Compared to the other two, it does smell like OG's, like the completed batch. Like you can tell the little things that were removed over the years that are maintained in 2001, aka the original formula. Up next, this is just based on ones I've used. I would then put Fahrenheit 2017 behind it. I really like the slight vanilla, the very slight hint of just that little sweetness in there, and nothing's overbearing. Like you don't have one scent that's just demolishing everything else. In this one, you have like everything works together pretty well, even though some of the more robust undertones are more present in OG, which is why I like OG more. Also, I've not tried the performance of OG, but from what I read, the performance in OG is much better. I'll confirm tonight. If it changes, I'll make an update. Performance on both the new ones are not very good. Like they made it like I think I used 2019. No, I used 2017 during the weekender we did for Megatronics. It was okay. It made it through the Brooklyn show, but you really couldn't like it. It didn't. It was still it was there, but it wasn't like strong anymore. Like all the good stuff had been gone. So the performance in 2019 is better than 2017. The reviews were correct about that. But overall, I think it sacrifices overall quality in order to perform better, where OG doesn't have to do that. So OG followed by 2017, just because I think 2017 just smells really good, and then 2019 is behind it just because the performance is good. And it still smells like Fahrenheit. It's still there. It's a little too much ethanol, a little too much gasoline in there. And then followed up by Hitfire, this stuff. The reason Hitfire is placed so low, I think it smells better than 2019 Fahrenheit. The issue is performance is terrible. It's one guy put it best. It's Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. And then after not very long, it's gone. Like I use this on average days aren't going anywhere. Like before the gym pretty much, because I know I'm going to take a shower afterwards and this stuff's cheap. I got 2 bottles for 15 each. So that's kind of my rankings of all this. I'll be using the 100 milliliter, this guy, like for here and there, because they're not easy to get. I'm not sure if I'll ever get another one of these. For so special occasions. Maybe shows and stuff like that. I'll be using the other two for average day. I'm okay wearing a 2019 one. Another thing too is when I used it, it kind of burned a bit. Like, when I went to the gym after a while, I was like looking at my arm on day 2, and it was like a little redness going on. So I'm not sure what is really different chemically. Maybe I'm not sure if I used too much or not, but I never had that reaction with anything else I've used before. So just worth noting, you know, it is definitely different chemically. And then if I can get my hands on 100 milliliter of like, you know, 2016, maybe 2017. I've read 2018 is like money. I've not tried 2018, so I can't recommend it. I'd probably get one of those next. I do know a place that has some 2014 and 2016 laying around. I showed the guys how to find it, so it was fun discussion actually. I walked in. I should have put my sunglasses on for this, but I walked in. I'm like, you know, do you have Fahrenheit? And they're like, yeah. So I pulled it up and I looked at the bottom, and they're like, what are you doing? I was like, well, all right, 1 second. I pull my phone up. All right, this was made in like, I think it was like November 2014. And he's like, how'd you know that? And I was like, right here. It's dot matrix printed on. That's how hard it is to find, but it's at the bottom of the box. And the dude lit up, like he's a big fan of Fahrenheit. And he's like, you know, I got to get new Fahrenheit soon. And I was like, well, don't use this one. And I found the 2019 ones he had, and I was like, you know, go to these ones instead. And I explained, you know, why he probably liked the older batches. It's really complicated. But I like it. I think it's a really good tone, and it's really the most like vintage, like retro cologne I think out there. It really does have an awesome like 80s vibe to it. So anyways, for those who are interested, I think Fahrenheit Dior is awesome. All versions are great, but the different variations are definitely present. I do want to try the parfum, whatever I think it's how it's pronounced. I'm new to this. I've read that replaces some ethanol with more vanilla, and it's a bit stronger. So I do want to try that out. I've read that Fahrenheit Absolute is really, really good, but the prices are stupid. It's like $300 for a bottle, and it was discontinued in 2014. I've heard 32 is mixed. Some people like 32 a lot. Some other people say it's really bad. And then there's Fahrenheit Cologne, where it just says Fahrenheit Cologne on the bottle. It's another flanker, aka like a special edition. So I want to try that too, and then my Infinity Gauntlet of Fahrenheit is finished. But the hardest one I think I have secured. Like, this is the hardest one, getting the OG. Pretty awesome. But anyways, I'll be back pretty soon tonight. I'll be doing some actual streaming tonight. Power Rob's gonna come back. But I just wanted to share all this. It was just a lot of fun. It was really a fun scavenger hunt. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by work and music. Like, I've been writing, like even with Power Wave coming out. I literally finished Power Wave, and then I hopped into Thrill Killer Album 3, and then also working some other stuff with my friend Daniel Ippolito. So I'm just writing and singing and teaching, and I love teaching to death. I just wanted to find something that wasn't music related for a change, and this was it. It was just a lot of fun for me. So hopefully you guys found it interesting. I will be back tonight. I'm probably going to start streaming Kakarot. I just got that on PS3. I also got Pokemon, the new one, Sword and Shield. And then obviously just some retro games and Smash. So I'll be back, guys. Thanks for sitting through all this, and I'll see you guys soon.